Welcome back to my channel Computer Engineering Made Easy, and I am Anindita. Today we are going to start with the new series of recapitulation of C programming as a basic or prerequisite to the course on data structure and algorithms. So to start with, let us first see how a C program looks like. I am using Xcode to start with my programming. So let's call the project C intro, and let's create a folder, say C programming, and here we shall create a project. So once we create our project, we are here into our program, main program. So as you can see, the system has already built a initial code or the basic code outline for us. Here we are going to do some modifications to further simplify the code that has been provided. So I am just going to remove this argc and argv. We will come to this when we talk about command line arguments, but for the time being, this is what it looks like. Okay, so let's call the program our first code. So here, as you can see, there are quite a few parts of this particular program. So here right at the beginning, we have got the preprocessor directive. Preprocessor directives usually starts with this hash token. Okay, so when we have got this preprocessor directive, as the name suggests, before the compiler starts processing this program, it will be processing this include stdio.h, this particular statement. Why so? Because in this particular header file, this stdio.h is basically a header file. In this header file, there are the declarations of certain functions. There are certain pieces of code which will be required by our int main function to run. Now, this is why we call this preprocessor directive. We will further learn about preprocessor directives once we go into the course on software tools. Further, let's see. C program starts its execution from the main function. So here we have got int main. Main happens to be the name of the function from where the execution starts. How can we say that main is a function? Because it is followed by these two braces. In C, anything that is followed by these two braces is considered to be a function. Now, after the function, we have got the function body. So anything that comes within these two curly braces is the body of the function. And finally, the return type. This is the return type or the information that is getting returned by the compiler to the operating system once the execution of the program or execution of the main function is complete. The next section is the code section. Inside the main function, here you can see that we have written something called printf. Then we have given the same parenthesis, just like this one, we have got a set of parentheses over here. So these parentheses again makes the printf a function. So printf is a system defined function, and the declaration or the structure of this function printf is provided in the header file stdio.h. stdio basically stands for standard input output. Inside the printf function, we have used a string. This is basically a string. Anything that comes in this double quotation is called a string. So we have introduced a string here called hello world. Finally, we come to the end of the printf statement, and here, as you can see, we have provided a semicolon. Now, semicolon demarcates the end of a statement in the C language. Once the compiler encounters this semicolon, it will realize that this statement has come to an end, and it will move on to the next statement. So in C, whenever there is a function call or there is a statement, we have to follow it up with a semicolon. Next, we have got the comment section. C supports two types of comments. First one is a single line comment where we can use this double slash to block the line, so the compiler skips it during the pre-processing phase. And the second one is the multi-line comment. For multi-line comment, we use slash and star. So anything we write between these two, hi, this is a intro class, we will learn about C here. So see, here we have got multiple lines, and all these multiple lines are blocked. That means during the pre-processing phase, the compiler is going to strip these lines off the code, and we will see the further condition or the further structure of the code. Finally, since main is a function, it has to return something to the calling function. Here in this case, it is the operating system who is calling the main function when we execute this code. Okay, and as you can see, the return type is int. Int means integer. Int stands for integer. Int is a data type that represents the integer. Hence, this main function has to return an integer or integer number to the calling function or the operating system. Accordingly, we have written this return statement. This return statement is responsible for returning something to the calling function, and here it is returning 0. Okay, so that's all about the first C code. Now let us see what happens when we compile this and run this. So in this case, in case of Xcode, this is where if we press this button here, we will be able to compile and run the code. So once we do that, as you can see in the output, we can see hello world getting displayed, and the program ended with exit code 0. That means it is a normal exit that has happened. By default, the GCC compiler is installed in any Linux machine and as well as any Mac machine. We can use the Linux shell or the Mac shell to write this code. So if we want to use our normal system, Xcode is not installed in your Mac machine or any other software is not installed in your machine, in your Linux or Mac machine, in such a case also we can start our C program by using the GCC compiler. So for that, we will be using the VI editor, which is a general editor that is available in any Linux machine as well as any Mac machine. We will use the VI editor to start with the program. So in order to write the body of the program, first thing that we need to write is we need to start with the code. Okay, so we have to open that particular file name. So let's say we call the file main.c. So vi main.c is going to create a file by the name of main.c and it's going to open it for us. So this is what it will look like. Now to start typing in the VI editor, we have to press the I key of your keyboard. So if I press I, then automatically it will go into the insert mode and we can start typing our program. So accordingly, let's say #include stdio.h int main . So first the comment, this is my first program, printf finally return 0. So my same code is repeated over here. Now I have to save and exit from the VI editor. In order to save and exit from the VI editor, I have to press escape from the keyboard followed by colon and then W and Q. W stands for write, that means it will save whatever I have written in the file, and Q stands for quit. So save and quit is the instruction that I am giving to the VI editor. Once I do that, my main function is completely written, it is saved, and now it is there in the current location or my current directory. In order to compile this file, I have to call the GCC compiler. So for that, I give GCC space filename.c. Then I want to create an executable file. By default, the executable that is created is a.out, but that is a bad approach to keep that name, that executable file as the same name, because you might have multiple programs in your folder. So the good approach will be to give a proper name to your executable file. So -o is going to do that, -o main. In this case, GCC instructs, that means this is going to be a C program. I'm going to compile a C program. So I have used the GCC compiler followed by the name of the program, that is main.c, then -o and main. Here main is basically the executable file that will be generated. Once I do this, my program has got no error, so it has compiled successfully. Now in order to execute, I have to do this. I have to give // which means executing. Then I have to give the file name, that is the executable file name, which I give as main, So, once I do that, hello world has been displayed. Okay. So, this is the idea of how we can write a simple program in C and how we can compile it.